Hi, I'm Dr. Dan Chalice.
I'm Detective Cameron.
And I'm Stan.
And this is Scream Bloody Movies, the podcast where you get all your favorite Tom Atkins talking about Tom Atkins movies. How you guys doing, Toms?
Doing good, Tom.
I'm doing great, Tom.
Great, Tom. It's great to know. I've been spending my day, sucking movies and drinking beer.
Sounds like a great day to me.
It's the best day. Also, I've been stopping children from getting their faces melted off by Halloween masks. So I think it's a pretty good day. Welcome, folks, to our Halloween episode. I hope that this is finding you having a great holiday. This is hopefully a great way for you to start your holiday. We are very excited to talk about today's movie, which is John Carpenter's Immortal classic, Halloween. And just this weekend, the weekend that this airs, or the weekend that we recorded this, we just got through watching Halloween Kills, which you'll see a reaction for soon as well. Needless to say, we all loved it, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So that brings us to the horror movie news. The first thing is, since we're talking about Halloween Kills, we have the box office receipts for Halloween Kills this weekend, and it opened to $50 million, which is one of the highest openings for a movie during the pandemic, the highest R-rated opening, and just a lot of money to be made in a single weekend, especially for an R-rated slasher film. What are you guys' thoughts?
It's amazing.
It was well deserved, for sure.
I mean, the buildup was forever. I mean, we waited for, a year. It was supposed to come out in 2020, and we had to wait a full year for it to come out. So the hype was definitely built. And it also made that $50 million while also simultaneously being on Peacock, which you could pay $10 and have it ad free. So I mean that's huge business for that movie. Next on the speaking of Halloween Kills, we'll continue with that. David Gordon Green has announced that he will be directing all three of his upcoming Exorcist trilogy that he's attached to. What are your guys' thoughts on that, and are you excited for that iteration?
Yeah, that's the way it should be done.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that. I'm glad that he's seeing it through.
Yeah, I mean, he's. It seems like it's something that he shepherded forward, so I would imagine that he has a large stake in it and passion into it. So, I mean, that's what he's doing with Halloween. I mean, you could take a guy that was making, mostly silly comedies with Danny McBride and Seth Rogen and such, and then you turn it in. Then he turns into this like horror maestro. I mean, that's shows where your passion lies, I suppose.
He's the second one.
Yeah, the second trilogy.
Well, no.
So it's
it was Jordan. Was it? Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele.
Yeah, he made that transition pretty successfully.
Yeah,
as well,
he did very successfully. Made two very good movies. So this is interesting, guys. M. Night Shyamalan has a new movie coming out. Our favorite Twistmeister. I mean, I guess the greatest twist was when he started making good movies again. That's a knee slapper there. I'll be hearing about that on Monday.
For sure.
So yeah, his new movie is called Knock at the Cabin Door, or Knock at the Cabin.
Ooh.
And let's see if we have any new no details about the plot of Knock at the Cabin, but he's all for. I'm all for a Cabin in the Woods style movie from M. Night. I mean, that
Yes.
sounds like it would be interesting. What are your guys' thoughts?
I love M. Night Shyamalan. There will be no M. Night disrespect ever again on this podcast. You guys hear me?
Hey, I love the first two movies that M. Night made very much. Unbreakable, Sixth Sense and Unbreakable are both great. And I didn't love The Village. Derek's a big fan of The Village.
I
I
love
like The Village.
I love The Village so much.
Well, we'll all
I thought it was a
have
good
differing.
choice.
I'll have a differing opinion on that one. But I don't think it's his worst. I think he doesn't start to make bad movies till he makes The Happening.
What? No.
Which is pretty bad. Pretty bad. And then
I thought it was cool.
Then he made The Last Airbender,
you,
which
Lydia.
is just atrocious.
I've never seen that one, but I could see where that one might be.
I could see
in
that.
the wrong direction.
Yeah,
Also,
I
After
could see-
Earth.
After Earth.
With Will
didn't see
Smith
that.
and Jaden Smith. Yeah. Well,
did
not a lot
that?
of people did. Bomb. pretty
Wow, I didn't
hard.
know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that was him either.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm all for when M. Night makes some tight little horror movies. He knows what he's doing. Like I thought Split was really good. Didn't care for Glass, but I loved Split, and I have not seen Old yet. So once that comes out, I'll be excited to see that. It's an interesting premise. And that wraps up the horror news today. There wasn't a lot. So guys, the reason we're here, it is Halloween. Everybody needs to go grab your jack-o'-lanterns.
Card
Grab
Guards
a
today.
nice. Good. Grab a jack-o'-lantern. Grab a big bowl of candy. Put on some spooky music, and then watch John Carpenter's Immortal Halloween,
Don't forget to
which is what
get
we're
the-
discussing today.
Get the diabetes. The
Well, I
diabetes.
mean,
Beat us.
Diabetes. With all
we're
the
Tom
candy.
Atkins, not Wilford Brimley.
Type 2 diabetes.
I'm feeling this, by the way.
Oh,
The
I can
second
tell. I can tell.
We're about to
On
get
second
Rogue
watch. Good. I like your pumpkin, Lydia. Your little pumpkin.
Lydia, I am so jealous of your decor.
Yeah, it looks
ridiculous.
great. Looks great.
I go all out for Halloween. I love it.
I do too. This is as much as I could do at the moment in my office, but
Did you?
the house has.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say the house is already starting to be decorated as well. So, guys, let's talk about John Carpenter's Halloween. Let's start with our experiences with Halloween, and like we do every week. And is this the first time you've seen this? Obviously, the answer is no, I would imagine. So let's start with you, Derek. Tell me your Halloween story.
I don't know if I have a Halloween story, but I mean, I grew up on this movie. I watch it every single year. It was in Syndicate growing up on cable television. So, because it came out in the 70s and I was born in the 80s. So, it was already a classic by the time I got a hold of this thing. But yeah, I watch it pretty much every year. I own a copy.
Lydia.
Yeah, I can't quite remember the first time I saw this either. It's kind of like one of those things that's just always been there, like, I mean, like you said, it was already a classic by the time we were all born. So, yeah, it's just one of those things. I do remember, not seeing it when I was super young and catching little scenes here and there. But my mom really tried to not let me watch, the Halloween and Friday the 13th when I was too young. So unlike you guys, which I feel like you guys saw it when you were really
We
young.
had no limits.
Yeah. So, but I think that built up more of a fear because it's like, oh no, that's too scary for you to watch. So by the time I finally got to sit down and watch it, I was like, oh, this is really scary stuff. I'm not I'm not even supposed to watch this.
Yeah, that goes a long way. That goes a long way into myth making for a movie, for sure.
Mhm.
For me, this has always been a staple in my life too. I mean, this is I guess I'm going to give away my rating, but this is my all-time favorite movie. And when I was young, this movie terrified me. I was terrified of Michael Myers just in general. I watched Freddy, dressed as Freddy, loved Freddy. Watched Jason, thought he was cool, loved Jason. Michael Myers was terrifying. He was this blank, emotionless killing machine. And the first Halloween I saw actually was Halloween 2. My first earliest memory of Halloween was Halloween 2. And it was watching it with my mom we had a house on 3rd Street. And I remember sitting in the living room and the scene, the end of Halloween 2, where the hospital explosion happens, and watching him walk out of the flames. And I was like, fuck this. No, even flames can't stop him. And from then on, for a while, I was really afraid of Michael Myers, and I forced myself to watch those movies. And then, as I started watching them, this movie just became my favorite. The filmmaking of it just took over as a filmmaker. I was like, this is number one. Everything about this is what I like. And so, yeah, like you guys, I watch it every year on Halloween. Sometimes I watch it just in the middle of the year if I want to watch it. I've owned this almost as many times as I've owned Evil Dead. Not quite though. But yeah, it's definitely part of my lexicon, especially as a filmmaker. It's definitely in my toolbox. Is John Carpenter's Halloween. I use that as a reference point for a lot of things. Like, is that scary? Is it as scary as this scene? No, probably not. We could probably do better. So, guys, let's dig into it. Let's dig into John Carpenter's Halloween. I'm sure most people know the whole story, but let's start by saying that this movie was made for $300,000 and became a worldwide success. For the longest time, it was the highest-grossing independent film of all time for the longest period. It actually finally got bested first by Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Which, did you guys know that was a independent movie?
I did.
I mean, it was an independent movie with a big budget, but it was an independent movie. And then, of course, the Blair Witch Project just destroyed everything. I mean, it was made for $7 and a stick of bubble gum. $70 billion or something. Spawning a franchise, which only has one good movie, which is the first one.
Well, that's usually how it goes. When they're unplanned.
Except for this series. There's quite a few good ones.
Three good ones. And a train. There are 3 good ones and a train.
Sorry,
and
guys.
Hey, listen.
I think there's 2
We've waited long enough. This train is worth it.
I'll take that back.
I'm not going to let this train derail this podcast.
That's true. There are 4 good ones and a train.
That's 2 trains passing my house right now.
2 trains passing in the night.
Dang.
It's good. It's fine.
This podcast has a death curse.
It's got a death curse.
It's got a death curse.
It's more trick than treat tonight, guys.
Literally. Holy cow.
Dude, I drove by a sign and it said trunk or treat. And the first time I saw the sign, I was like, did that say trunk or treat? Like, is that a sign for a bar?
That's a good name for a bar, though.
That's a good name.
It is.
Trick or treat is also a great name if you're running a prostitution ring.
That's also true. Have a bunch of little kids show up and you act like a kitty cat.
Whoa. You're going too far.
That was a callback to Trick or Treat.
I gotcha.
We got it. I will say I didn't. Stan must be a big fan of the Green Bay Packers. I've just got to point that out.
Well, you're our arch nemesis over there in Chicago, Mike.
All right, so John Carpenter's Halloween opens with a point of view shot. We get this great Steadicam shot, one of the early Steadicam shots, where we walk from the front of the house. We see through a window Judith Myers and her boyfriend kissing, making kissy faces, what have you, and going upstairs. So our point of view, whoever we are, we don't know at the moment, walks through the back of the house. Goes into the kitchen and pulls out a kitchen knife. Walks around, and then our buddy's coming downstairs. He literally had like a 3-pump chump, I think. This
Dude,
guy.
the definition, man. I don't know how you. Anyway, we'll move on. But yeah.
I've never heard that term before, but I was thinking that as well. Like, did they do anything up there? Like, what just happened?
They got naked, looked at each other, and was like, "This must be it."
He's like,
All right, gotta go.
I got something else. I got something else I forgot I was supposed to do today. Just
She
left.
touched him and he goes, "Ah, all right, I'll see you later."
He pulled a Jim. He pulled a Jim.
He pulled a Jim. Yeah, pulled a Jim. So, premature boyfriend goes downstairs. We'll call him premature E-Jack.
Oh my gosh.
So premature Jack goes downstairs, and our point of view goes upstairs into grabs a mask that's laying at the top of the stairs, and the mask goes over the camera. And we're seeing through the eye holes of the mask. The Judith is brushing her hair without her shirt on, and she turns around and is shocked by the person there and says, "Michael," and is brutally stabbed multiple times with a knife. The figure goes back downstairs, walks out of the front door, and is confronted by 2 people who pull off the mask to reveal a 6-year-old boy wearing a clown outfit. And we get this great pull-out crane shot to end the scene. What do you guys think of the opening of Halloween?
Iconic.
Starring. Go ahead, Lydia.
That's all I had. One word. Iconic.
It's kind of jarring because when you think of someone who commit a murder like that, you don't the thing that is furthest from your mind is a 6-year-old boy, and so that reveal is just like, whoa, he did that. So it's jarring, is what I would say. Especially
if you could go back to not knowing what you know about Halloween and not knowing who Michael Myers was. You're watching this for the first time. It's such a well-crafted scene. It's the camera work is beautiful. The direction's beautiful. It like flows so well, creates a bunch of tension, and then that reveal, you're just kind of like you said, whoa, this was a boy in 1963. And then the title card comes up, and it's October 30th, 1978, and we're introduced to one of the greatest characters of all time, Dr. Sam Loomis.
Mm-hmm.
Played by the great Donald Pleasance, driving in a car with Nurse Marion Chambers. So Dr. Loomis is Michael's doctor, and he's basically talking to the nurse about, she's asking questions about so what do we do with this? What do we do with that? What are we going to give him? And he's like, Thorazine. She says, well, he'll barely be able to stand. That's the idea. And we get the sense, basically immediately, she says, you never want him to get out, do you? Never, ever, ever. And she says, he says, just don't underestimate it. Know what you're dealing with and never underestimate it. Don't you think we can refer to it as him? If you say so. What do you guys think of this scene, the dialogue scene of them in the car? I feel like it starts to set up the mystique of who Michael Myers is. before we even see him.
Yeah, it builds the legend, so to speak. And he's the closest thing. He's the closest person to Michael at this point. And so, no one knows him better than his doctor. And he's referring to him not as a person, but as an entity of...
An entity.
Yeah. So, heed the warning.
Heed the warning. If only people would have listened to Dr. Loomis, we wouldn't have a franchise at all. We'd have no movies.
We wouldn't have had a franchise.
A lot of people would be alive, but they don't. So Michael Myers kills and kills and kills. 40 years later, still killing it.
Oh my gosh.
So they arrive at the Miss Grove Sanitarium and they see that it's broken into. Like there's the gates open and there's like patients wandering in the fields, which is such a creepy image, right? I mean, that's disturbing. Can you imagine? Like you pulling up and you just see all these people in white gowns just walking numbly. Like that's terrifying.
For sure.
So Dr. Loomis runs to make a phone call, and while he's doing that, a figure, Michael, appears and jumps on top of the car, and there's that great scene of him trying to get in, where he steals the car. What do you guys think of that scene?
Well, so pulling up to an insane asylum with a bunch of people roaming around out in the yard in the middle of the night in the rain. I would have put that fucker in reverse. I would not have went forward. But it's a great scene. It's a great scene, especially when he jumps on top of the car and that nurse is by herself. Yeah, I'd have been flooring it. I'd have been taking those guys out like they were corn stalks. Poof, 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 poof.
Oh my
I
God.
agree. No, I would have been out of there too. Like as soon as I saw something was wrong, I'd have been like, nope, nope, nope. I mean, you would think like Loomis would have been like, we should get out of here. Or like, you should at least get out of here. I need to go confront this, but you should not stay around because this is not a good situation right now.
Well, I think his thinking was that she'd be safer in the car than out.
Yeah.
And then the shape attacks the car.
Yeah.
And, because he sneaks behind Loomis. Loomis doesn't even see him. And he attacks the car. And I love the suspense in the scene where they're... where he's breaking through trying to break into the car. It's so suspenseful, and the music is so great during that scene. Which is a thing that this movie is number one in, is the music. I mean, John Carpenter's score for this is like next level good.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's one of the most iconic theme songs ever.
Yeah.
But also, what's funny is this movie, like I said, was made for $300 million or $300,000, and so when they break the glass, this movie was not made to be seen in HD at the time. If you look closely when he breaks the glass, there's a wrench taped to his hand.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that, Lydia?
No, I've never seen that. That's crazy. I always wonder.
Yeah.
I'm like, it doesn't look like it's fake glass. Like there's something I couldn't figure out about that is like how the glass looks once it breaks. Like, how did they do that?
Yeah, so it is real glass. It is real glass, and he has a wrench taped to his hand, and the film grain and the rain hit it in the 70s. Now with HD, you can clearly see it. But smacks into it. Actually, there's a bit in Halloween Kills. You remember the bit where he attacks the car with Marion in it in Halloween Kills? You can see a wrench attached to his hand. They reuse it as an homage to it.
Yeah.
Nice.
That I definitely caught that. I didn't catch the wrench until I bought the HD version on iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching it and I was like, wait a second. I literally rewound it. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's a wrench in his hand.
100%
I've
a
never
wrench.
caught that before, but I did in Halloween Kills. I did catch the homage. There were a couple of really good homages.
Oh, yeah.
In that movie.
But this isn't a Halloween Kills one. We'll get into
It's
that.
not, yeah.
So the shape spins off. He's not the shape quite yet. Speeds off into the night. Dr. Loomis yells about the evil being gone. The evil! the evil is gone from here. And we're introduced to the city of Haddonfield, Halloween, 1978. And we see this sleepy town. And we're introduced to our final girl, our main character, Laurie Strode, played by the great Jamie Lee Curtis, as she's walking to drop off keys at the old Myers place. Her dad's a realtor. She runs into Tommy Doyle while she's doing her walk, and they have a great little dialogue, basically building upon the legend of Michael Myers. You know, Lonnie says you can't go there. We find out that he's her babysitter. We find out that she's babysitting him that night. They're going to carve jack-o'-lanterns, all this fun stuff. Then we start to find out a little bit about the Myers house. Like, we see it's dilapidated now, and nobody's lived there. It has a Strode Realty sign in front of it, trying to sell it. And he mentions that Lonnie, this kid that picks on him, says that you can't go there. It's evil, and the boogeyman lives there. And she goes up to drop the keys off, and when she does, the shape is inside, and he sees her. And at that moment is when he fixates on Laurie. So what do you guys think of our introduction to Laurie Strode?
I love her. I love her character. She did such a good job of acting. Like, was this her first movie?
This was her first major movie, yes.
She
The
did.
Fog
She
predates
did
this
so
one,
incredible. Oh, the Fog.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Fog's after this.
Oh, it is. It's after this, huh?
Yeah. Fog is
Yeah,
1980.
Oh,
Yeah,
not
this
bad.
is 1978. This was her first major role. Yeah, her first lead role for
She
sure.
did such an incredible job as Laurie. Like, I love this character so much.
Yeah,
I
it's a
love
very
how natural
relatable
she
character.
is. Yeah,
Yes.
it really is. She's so natural at it too, and like she's just like doing her thing, just minding her own business.
Yep.
You know.
In the
Super
very
smart.
next scene, that's what she's doing in the very next scene. After Tommy runs off, she's walking, singing a song to herself, and we see the shape over the shoulder. His shoulder comes into camera, and we see him watching her walk away.
Bye. I wish I had you all alone, just the two of us.
Great stuff. I love that shot. That shot of him watching her is so creepy. It's just like, if she only turned around, she would see that something bad's going to happen. But she's oblivious. She's a teenage girl living her life, just studying and doing her work. And yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. So then we flash to Dr. Loomis at Smith's Grove Sanitarium, and he's talking to a doctor, and this is a great line. An all-point roadblocks and all-point bulletin wouldn't stop a 5-year-old. And they bring up how Sam, he can't have got far. He can't even drive. He was doing very well last night. Maybe somebody around here gave him lessons. So we see that Dr. Loomis is actually on the hunt. It's not just a matter of, okay, so this happened and he's going to report it. He's on the hunt. He needs to stop this guy.
Mhm.
This is his Moby Dick, so to speak. So he needs to bag this white whale. So then we cut to Laurie in class, and she's basically, they're doing like a lecture. And while the teacher is talking about fate, of all things, speaking about the concept of fate, Laurie looks out of the window and she sees the shape standing behind his car, just staring at her. And the teacher calls on her. She answers the question, basically like that fate is a element of nature, like earth, wind, fire, and water. And she looks back and the shape is gone. I love these little bits throughout the movie. There's a bunch of them. But when you just see the shape watching her from afar, and his fixation would be such a scary thing to have happen to you. We see Dr. Loomis ends up pulling over at a train track to make a phone call. And while he's there, he's trying to call the Haddonfield Police Department. And while he's there, he finds a truck pulled over on the side of the road. And he checks it out and finds Michael's gown in the truck. And he also finds the matches from the car in the truck as well. And so he knows that Michael had been there. He doesn't look to the right, because if he would have saw the dead dude whose overalls Michael stole and basically wears through the next for the rest of the night. What do you guys think of this little scene?
I think that's really interesting that it really it shows you the matches, and then you see them and you're like, wait a minute, didn't I just see those a second ago? Like it definitely walks you through it, but it's like a nice little like where did those come from? What's the story with these?
Yeah.
Why are we focusing on this?
Yeah, when he's in the car, that's what I mean. You wonder, why do we see a close up of the matches, and then we get the payoff a few scenes later, is because it shows Loomis that he's on the right trail, that he is heading towards Haddonfield, and it also lets us know that he's already killing again. So this is not good. This is not good at all.
Also, you would think Dr. Loomis would know not to just start cleaning up a crime scene. He
it was
starts
the 70s.
just picking stuff up.
It's true. It was
why
the
are you doing
'70s.
that?
They didn't have any forensic. They're just whatever. I mean, he found it.
Yep, there's a dead body. What do you want me to do?
What was
see
he
if they-
picking up? Were those gowns, or was that?
It was Michael's gown that he picked up
Okay.
out of it. So it was the.
I was
So that's
why
why
are
he
there
grabbed
sheets
it.
everywhere?
So that's
I
what
gotcha.
it was. It was his gown, and that's how he realizes. Okay, so he was definitely here. That and the red rabbit matches. So then he goes off knowing, shit, he's definitely heading for Haddonfield. And then Lori, we meet Lori's two best friends, Linda and Annie. Annie is the sheriff's daughter, and Linda is a cheerleader. And we get this scene of them walking home together, which is stuff that I really love. I love the scenes where it's just the three girls walking and talking, and you see the shape in the background and such. There's some spotty acting from these young actors happens, but I mean, not Jamie. She's great throughout the whole thing. But I think it's really natural. It's like how I talk to my friends on the way home, just joking with each other and just talking about what you're doing that night and all this stuff. And then the shape drives by and they see him. And, Lori recognizes him because he's been watching her all day. And she says, they're like, oh, is this guy? He's real cute. And Annie yells at him, speed kills, and he slams on the brakes for a beat. And then he drives off, and she says this line in a worst way. It's one of the worst line deliveries. Is,
Totally. I hate a guy with a car and no sense of humor.
Yeah.
But it builds a great here. What do you guys think of this little bit?
Is this this part's when he slams on his brakes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty freaked out. That's pretty freaky. And I think I am definitely the Laurie Strode in this situation, where I'm the one that's really cautious every single time anybody does anything. I'm like, okay, wait, what are they doing? And you kind of see her concerned, because she knows okay, I've seen this car. I don't think that's who you think it is. And now they're just slamming on their brakes. That's a sketchy thing to see. And
Yeah, it's
then
not
everybody
good.
else is just kind of who cares? La-di-da, whatever. They're just kids and they don't care about anything. But she is already being cautious and getting freaked out now.
Yeah, she's already kind of aware of her surroundings, which is important. It's what makes her survive, is that she's cognizant of her surroundings. So they basically talk about how they come up with a plan that Linda's going to come over because Annie's boyfriend can't come over because he was soaping windows. He got caught. So Linda's going to come over with her boyfriend Bob, and her boyfriend Bob is going to basically she's going to take Lindsay upstairs to bed or take her over to Lori's, and then they're going to basically get it on at the house. They're going to use their house to get it on. And she says, "Oh, great! So I have, 3 options: watch the kids sleep, listen to Linda screw around, or hang out with you." When she's speaking with Lori. So Linda goes home, and Lori and Annie are walking by themselves, and Lori sees the shape step out behind a bush, watching them from a distance. And then he steps back in, and she stops and says, "It's that guy who you yelled at the car." And Linda, being like just, brave and like not giving a shit, she's like, "Oh, subtle, isn't he?" She makes her way over there, and of course he's not there, and she's like, "Oh, scared another one away, Lori." And so then she ends up heading to the house as well. I love this. What do you guys think of the bush scene? It's such an iconic shot.
Yeah, it is. I looked at Jake and I was like, I cannot not picture every single meme I've seen of this shot.
Yeah, it's been memeified to death now. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But it's
Definitely an
still
iconic
iconic, and it's like it's kind of cheesy now, I think, a little bit, but it's definitely like the moment where, like, why didn't she just like hit her and be like, look right now, hurry.
Well,
Like,
she
he's right,
did,
there's
but
a
she was
guy in
looking.
a mask.
She was looking down, messing with something when she did, and by the time she looked up, the shape had already stepped back. So she was just kind of like, "What are you talking about?"
Mm-hmm.
The thought of somebody creeping behind bushes and watching you is a really scary thought to me. I'm not scared by a lot of stuff, but like somebody stalking me would be scary. I feel like that. I mean, it's such an invasion of privacy, and it's such a creepy thing. What do you think, Derek?
For sure. Especially like if they're hiding behind bushes and things like that. Like that's a next level type of situation, and especially if you're a vulnerable person. I mean, whether you're a guy or a girl, but in this case, it just happened to be a girl. Like, I'm sure that is probably one of the most frightening things she had encountered up until that point. So yeah, definitely.
Especially when you see him
scary.
wearing like a creepy white mask.
White
and you're like,
mask,
what the fuck's going on over there?
And overalls, and he's real like straight. He's not showing any emotion. Very methodical, it seems, as well, from your perspective. So yeah.
Yeah, and you've seen this motherfucker everywhere. That's the other thing. You're just like, guys, there's something going on here. Maybe I'm just seeing it. Maybe I'm going crazy. So she drops Linda. Annie goes into the house, and she runs into. We meet Sheriff Brackett, who she runs into, and he says, "It's Halloween. Everybody's entitled to one good scare," which is a big jump scare. And Lori makes her way back home, and goes upstairs to her room and looks out of the window, and she sees the fucking shape just standing like this creepy guy's Mr. Riddle is the guy's name, standing in Mr. Riddle's yard where they have a clothesline hanging clothes. That shot is actually really scary. That is a terrifying idea. And then he's just gone. He disappears, and almost in front of her eyes. I mean,
Mm-hmm. It's like it doesn't make sense how he keeps disappearing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's scary. It's like, how is he doing this?
Yeah, and at what point do you, one, not tell somebody with authority, like, hey, I've seen this guy several times. He was in the backyard of the neighbors looking up at my window, like, he's freaky. Or two, I don't know, arm yourself. Get like a knife at minimum and put it in your purse or something.
Lori carries around knitting needles, Derek.
Hey.
She's good to go.
Mm-hmm.
They come in
They're
handy
dangerous.
later. They come in handy for sure.
Yeah.
This next scene is actually one of my all-time favorite scenes in the movie. Annie comes and picks her up, and they're driving to the babysitting place, and they run into they start smoking pot. First of all, they just start smoking weed and listening to "Don't Fear the Reaper." I mean, classic 70s. And
Great song.
they end up getting they see Sheriff Brackett at like a hardware store, and so she pulls. I don't know why she pulls over. I mean, she could have completely just kept going, but she's like, "My dad," and go ahead, get rid of it, put it out, quit making faces. He's gonna know. So they pull over to see him, and I was like, I would have just
like
gone
you
by
could
and
have
been like,
just
"Hi,
kept
Dad."
going.
Yeah, when you've just done the. Hi.
Yeah.
It's all right. So she stops and talks to him, and he reveals that he thinks it's kids because they broke in and stole a mask, some rope, and a couple of knives, which we find out what happens with all of those things.
Yeah. Oh, also, they are being tailed by Michael at this
The
point
shape
as
is
well.
following them.
Yeah.
Yes, which is a great
Notable.
shot. I love when we see it. Actually, I cribbed the shot in Cutoff. We actually
You did,
steal
yeah.
this shot where she's driving and we see the shape come around the corner and start following them. I stole that. Actually, it's like almost a shot for shot steal, if I'm going to be honest. So pretty close to it. But it's such a great shot. It's such a scary idea, like how oblivious these girls are to the danger that's lurking, especially since at this point, the audience, we're starting to understand the danger of this guy. We hear the stories, we hear Loomis talk about how scary he is, and then we witness him attack a woman. We see a dead body, and so we're like, this can't be good. This is not good. So after this scene that they have with Sheriff Brackett and the girls drive off, this is why it's one of my favorite scenes. The girls drive off. Dr. Loomis approaches right at that time and talks to Sheriff Brackett. He's, saying, give me 5 minutes or give me 10 minutes. And Loomis is waiting and he looks to the right. And as he looks to the right, the shape passes behind him. And then he looks to where the shape was. He was this close to finding him right there and stopping all of this. And it's such a great scene. That's where all of our central characters intersect. It's a brilliant, brilliantly staged scene. So then we get into basically the babysitting times. Lori heads over to little Tommy Doyle, and she goes over to Lindsay Wallace's house. And we get some babysitting scenes. I really like the low-key babysitting scenes in this movie because they're so realistic. What do you guys think of these scenes?
Yeah, it's pretty sweet that she picks out a pumpkin for Tommy to carve, and she's like, we got popcorn ready, we're gonna watch scary movies, I'm gonna try to keep this kid entertained, and hopefully he goes to sleep so I can chill and just knit.
Yeah, groovy Saturday night or Friday night, I guess.
And it's such a why I like them is that they're really relatable because I can picture being babysat and similar situations, as far as so the babysitter gets this fun stuff for us to do and we watch these movies or we do these things when I was much younger. And it's very interesting that that they were able to capture that as well as they did. And especially I love watching the old movies that they're watching. They're watching Howard Hawks' The Thing and Thing from Another World. And I just love the lock your doors, bolt your windows. It's just I remember watching those old 50s horror movies when I was a kid. Oh, they're so spooky. Great stuff. Meanwhile, Dr. Loomis has talked to Sheriff Brackett and lured him to basically had him go to the Myers house because that's where he thinks that Michael will go. Too bad they didn't have Dr. Loomis around for Halloween Kills. It would have been a shorter movie. They go in and they investigate the Myers house. And they walk through, they find a dead dog. They're upstairs, and he starts to talk about this is where Judith was killed. And the gutter goes and breaks the window, and what's a really solid scare. And he starts to tell the story of Michael Myers. What do you guys think of Loomis's speech here about the devil's eyes?
Love it. It's really good. Real spooky.
Just adds another brick to the mythology of Michael Myers.
Yeah, it's
foundation.
one of my favorites. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite scenes, and so well acted by Donald Pleasance. He I love the bit where he says his pale, emotionless face in the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. And then you find out, that he's been treating this guy for 15 years, He spent the first half trying to reach him, and then the last half trying to make sure he never gets out, because he realized that this was pure evil. This wasn't a man. This was evil. And it's such an interesting concept, and it's such a scary thought that the only guy that is close enough to him to actually know anything about him says he needs to fucking die. Like, he's bad news. Doesn't bode well, huh?
It doesn't bode well at all.
So around this time, we know that the Shape is actually stalking, basically stalking Annie at this point. He's over at both the girls, watching both the girls, but he's stalking Annie. He pops up behind a tree, and then there's this great bit where he's like watching her from the window while she's in the kitchen. And Annie calls Lori, and they're on the phone together, and she talks about how earlier when they were in the car, Lori reveals that she has a crush on Ben Tramer. And she says she called him, and he went, he's really excited about it, and such just high school girl stuff, Oh, no, I'm embarrassed. Don't tell him. And she's like, well, he's already went out drinking. I can't say it was a lie, blah, blah. And they're just so oblivious to the evil that's literally right outside the window. She spills stuff on her shirt, so she takes off all of her clothes.
What are you going to do in that situation? What are you going to do?
She takes off all of her clothes and decides to go wash the laundry and wash her clothes. So she goes to the like the little laundry hut, I guess is what you'd call it. I don't know what the hell you call it. Laundry hut sound good to you guys?
Sure. That sucks that it's outside. Yeah, like detached.
Yeah, it's like a shed.
Yeah,
Could
It's
you
like
imagine
nicer than a
having
shed.
to do laundry
It is
that
nicer
way?
than a shed. No, that would be terrible. I mean, I have to go down to the basement, which sucks, to do my laundry.
That does suck. Yeah.
But at least it's not outside. At least I don't have to walk outside to do it. Can you imagine in the winter? You have to just
Yeah.
put on your parka and go out and do your laundry.
No, we had to
If
do
you
that
hand
in
me
one
my
of the
coat,
places
I'm
we
gonna go
lived.
do the laundry.
Yeah.
So she goes out to the laundry hut, and she's doing her laundry, and we see the Shape in the background. This what do you guys think of this scene? Just this whole laundry scene.
I think it's so annoying. Her character kind of sucks. But it's like, it's funny. Like, I think it's mostly funny because, I mean, her voice, she's like, Lindsay. I mean, it's just like, just the most obnoxious person. The dog hates her.
Yeah.
I'm like, dogs always are the ones to tell you, like, who's good and who's bad. And he's just like, she thinks he's barking at her, which I think he's really actually barking at Michael Myers. But yeah, I think it's a really funny scene that she just like is being clumsy. She spills stuff on her. She's like gets stuck in the window.
Yeah, it juxtaposes that comedy with absolute terror when you see the Shape in the background of shots, and you see like, especially when the door blows open and you see him standing outside the door through the blinds. It's such a great shot. You see through the sheer window dressing. What do you think, Derek?
I think it's the beginning of one of the most classic endings to any horror movie ever. First off, but yeah, I mean, from this point on, the suspense just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
It just keeps tightening. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. But I do like the little comedic piece to it because it does lighten it up a little bit.
Especially when after she gets stuck, Lindsay comes out to check on her and said Paul was on the phone. Paul had called, and she's stuck. She's got her foot stuck in the freaking thing, and she's been over the window. So she helps her down. And she goes, "Listen, we can't tell anybody about this." The phone rang. Lindsay runs in and immediately tells Paul that she got stuck in a window, which is such a kid thing to do. I love it so much.
Yeah.
Paul,
It's great.
The voice of Paul is played by John Carpenter, if you didn't know. Totally John's voice. Stuck, huh?
Did not know that.
Yes, John Carpenter.
That's awesome.
So, this scene is also one of my favorites. I love that she's talking on the phone. She has her back to the door, and we see the shape standing in the doorway watching her. She walks in front of it. We come back, and he's gone. Just a scary concept. Also, we forgot to mention earlier, she lets the dog out, and the dog gets strangled by Michael Myers. So it's gone. The dog's gone. So she has no protection whatsoever. And so she tells Paul, basically, I'll come and pick you up. We'll pick you up, and we'll have fun tonight. So she talks to Lindsay, and Lindsay's like, I want to stay here and watch this. Well, if I can make it where you get to watch movies with Tommy Doyle, would that make you happy? Yeah. So they just show up to the Doyle residence where Laurie is. This is such a teenage, terrible, irresponsible thing to do. She just is gonna drop the kid off with Laurie so she can go screw her boyfriend.
Kids are like goalies. They only make it harder to score.
Everything makes it harder to score to you.
Sorry. I couldn't help it.
So, so she goes over there, and basically Laurie says, I'll watch him, or I'll watch her if you tell Ben Tramer that you were kidding. So she says, yes, I'll do that. So she leaves, and taking off your mustache.
Yeah, it was half coming off of my face, so no, I'm just gonna
you don't have to wear it
shave
the
real
rest of the time.
quick.
Yep, you're good.
You say shave really
Got a little bit of glue. Yeah.
Well, if she's taking hers off, I'm taking mine off too.
Whoa, no strip tease on the pod. This is a public podcast, Derek.
Hey, they can leave tips in the bottom. They can leave links to.
I'm going to keep mine on, I think. Well, no, I should probably take it off too.
Yeah, I'm so hot
There,
right
I'll
now.
take mine off too. Look at that. I feel so weird being clean shaven.
I know. I feel weird too now. I'm like, ooh, I look like
Yeah.
I get the baby face thing. I feel like a baby right now.
Yeah.
Where guys are always thinking
Yellow
that
is not
when
my
they shave.
color.
What are you talking about? You look like a big giant ball of mustard.
I mean,
I think it looks
there's
good.
that. Everyone strives to be a big ball of mustard for sure.
Who doesn't try to be a big ball of mustard? So, Annie goes back into the house, and she's getting ready, and she starts singing this fucking song.
My Paul, I give you all. No keys, but please, my Paul.
So she's singing this song about Paul. By the way, I love her socks. I just got to add that. Love how her socks are pulled clear up to almost to her knee. Such a 70s look. And looks good. I'm a fan.
I'm a fan too.
So she grabs the key. She goes to the car. It's locked. So she goes to grab the keys. She grabs the keys, walks back up, and opens it. Doesn't even realize that she didn't unlock the door. And when she gets in, it's super fogged up.
Love this.
And she's just so oblivious to it. She's not paying attention. And then she realizes that she's like, what is this? And the shape pops up behind her and starts strangling her. And there's a little bit of a struggle where he's like choking her to death. Then he just brutally takes the knife and slices her throat. And then she passes and falls onto the horn, ending the scene. What do you guys think of Annie's death scene?
It's great up until the point she actually dies. Because she definitely like overacts the facial expressions after she's dead. But it makes me wonder if like that was always the original plan, or if they started to film the scene and realized that the condensation was building up inside the car. Then they're just like, hey, we'll use this as an element of her. Like,
no, I'm sure that it was meant to be there.
You think it was always meant to be that way?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I definitely think it was meant to be there because we as the audience are supposed to see that the windows are fogged up, so there's danger, and that the door's unlocked. And she's oblivious to all of these.
Okay.
So I definitely think
we'll go with that. But
I definitely think it was a stylistic choice.
Yeah, I think it was great. It was like her recognizing, and she makes a face like, why would this be fogged up? I don't get it. And then she starts to get strangled. So really the only like critique I have of that scene is just at the end when she's like, you know what I mean? But
Well,
it's really great.
I mean-
I like it a lot.
Well, I mean, who knows? You never know what face you're going to make when your throat's slit.
I mean, that's true. But
Lydia, what do you think of Annie's death?
I think it's really terrifying. I don't even want to put myself there and try to imagine being in that situation of somebody being in my back seat. I always check my back seat every time I get in my car, and I think it's because of this movie.
It's
I do sometimes
100%.
too.
It's 100% because of this movie. I do that too. If it's like late at night and I'm leaving somewhere and it's dark and I'm by myself, I open the door and I check the back seat. I'm like, I want to see if it's coming. If I open it and there's somebody there, I'm shutting the door and I'm just running as fast as I can. But yeah, I always check the back seat too. Damn you, John Carpenter! You made us all check the back seats of our cars.
Well, there's one other movie that I recall that that I remember there being somebody in the backseat of a car, and it was what was the name of it? It was the one with like Urban Legend.
Oh,
The opening
yes.
scene of Urban Legend has that as well.
Because it's an old urban legend. Yeah.
Yeah, but
The guy
this.
honking or flashing his lights.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
think
such a
the same
terrifying
thing.
idea.
Let Me In also has a really scary
Yeah.
back of the car.
Just always check the back of your car, folks. You never know
You never know.
if the
Like a
shape's
box of
residing in there.
chocolates.
So after that, we get this. We see Tommy, and he's trying to scare Lindsay. He's like goes and hides behind the sheet or the drapes, and he's like, Lindsay, and he turns around and looks, and he sees this beautiful shot of a backlit shape carrying Annie's dead body around the house from the garage. I love this shot so much. It's such a scary idea because he sees him earlier in the movie watching. There's another great shot where he's lit from similar, and the shape is looking into the window, and Tommy says, the boogeyman. And Lori's on the phone, and she looks out, and then he's gone. She's like, there's nobody out there. Just go watch TV. And then goes back to it. So this, she said, Lori says, quit, knock it off. You're scaring Lindsay. If you don't stop, I'm going to turn off the movie, make you go to bed. And he says, nobody ever believes me. And Lindsay says, I believe you. And it's so great. She's like, fine, like whatever. I was trying to protect you, but whatever you say. So after this, we cut back to Dr. Loomis still sitting outside of the Shape's house, waiting for him to come back. And we get a scare when Well, first, these little kids, one of them being Lonnie Elam, are being dared to go up to the Myers house. And he's walking up towards it, and Dr. Loomis scares him to keep him away. And he's like, Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
Hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
And Dr. Loomis smiles to himself. He's so proud of himself, and he gets the shit scared out of him by Sheriff Brackett.
Yeah.
Love
And
it.
he has
Love
another
that scene.
It's so funny, isn't it? Such a good little
It is
scene.
very funny.
So good.
And then he gives another great dialogue to Sheriff Brackett, because he says, I have a feeling you're way off on this. He's like, well, then your feeling's wrong. For 15 years, I watched him. I watched him stare at the wall, look past the wall, not see the wall, being incredibly patient for this night.
Death has come to your little town, Sheriff. You can either ignore it or you can help me to stop it.
And he says, more fancy talk, He's like, so I'm going to go out and look for him. I'll be back in an hour. So Loomis stays put. And I love this scene. It sets more suspense, more mythology for Michael. And we see that the good guys are looking in the complete wrong place.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what makes it so, effective. Because you're like, he's killing people over there. He's over there. What do you guys think of this scene?
Yeah, it's frustrating because you just want to tell them, you're like, come on, like just walk around a little bit. But they just don't have, they just don't know. Like they can't help it,
No, they don't know what they're dealing with. They're a small town sheriff's department. They, only have what they have, and they just are oblivious to what the shape is, essentially.
Yeah, yeah. And until Lori comes out like screaming, there's no sign of anything being wrong anywhere.
Right. So it's just another normal night. So, and he says when Sheriff Brackett comes back, he goes, I see kids, soap and windows, making out, getting high, normal Halloween stuff. Nothing, I think you're way off on this. So it's just, you start to get frustrated because nobody listens to Dr. Loomis, and that's a problem that, they luckily don't repeat in the sequels. Once we get into those sequels, the 4, 5, and 6, because in 4 he shows up and he's like, listen, this is going on. Instead of doing oh, you're crazy, old man, they're like, Dr. Loomis, we know you. Michael Myers is back? What the fuck? That was bad news when he was back last time. So Linda and Bob show up in this van. It's like they pull up in a fucking mystery machine that is covered in beer cans. So they've both been drinking. We do not recommend drinking and driving on this podcast.
Yeah.
But they've been drinking, and they see this really weird line where Bob says, like, oh yeah, totally get it. First I tear your clothes off, then you tear my clothes off, then we tear Lindsay's clothes off. Yeah, I get it. And you're like, and they laugh about it. Like, whoa, Bob.
Like that's not funny at all.
Yeah, chill your roll, Bob. Chill your roll.
Like how much of a turnoff is that for like she just laughs and thinks that's like hilarious. I'm like, oh, like anybody would be like, no, don't say that ever. That's horrible.
You damn creep.
The signs,
So
you gotta watch out for those signs.
Yeah, red flags. Red flags.
Red flags.
Yes. So they go inside and they see that there's nobody there, and they start to make out on the couch, and we see the shadow of the shape on the wall walk past them. So they make a phone call to Lori to find out where Annie is, and Lori says, "Oh, she's not back yet. She must have stopped off with Paul. They're probably doing it somewhere, essentially." And he says, okay, well, let me know when she gets back, because I need to know what time to put Lindsay to bed. So basically, Lori's going to watch her the rest of the night. How do you think the Wallace parents are going to be taking this, by the way? Like, let's say Michael Myers isn't in the picture and the shape is gone. How would you feel coming home and your daughter's not there, but you find out that, oh, it's because she stayed at the other person's house?
Be the last time I use that babysitter
Yeah, yeah,
for sure.
for sure. Yeah.
Now, I'm
You like
thinking that
no
the plan
trust.
was I'm thinking her plan was to put Lindsay to bed. Then when she got home, she was going to take her back over to their house. Is probably the plan, but
I'm sure.
it's just like such an irresponsible thing to do.
Yeah.
So they go upstairs to have sex, and they do, and they have this sex scene, which is something.
Oh, it
And
is
the phone
something.
keeps ringing, so he takes it off the hook. He's like, "Let's take it off the hook." And so they're doing it in these people's beds, taking their phones off the hook. I was like, these are terrible people. So Bob decides to go downstairs after they have their sex. What do you guys think of their super excellent sex scene?
I mean, it was longer than Two Pump Jump at the beginning, so I
That's
guess,
true. That's true.
I guess
A little longer than Primo.
yeah. It was awkward and weird, but it is what it is. And I think this is actually the scene where the shadow.
Yes, it happens here too. It happens twice.
Twice. Okay.
Yeah, it happens when they're on the couch, we see the shape. And then when they're actually in bed, we see his shadow walk by as well. So we know he's lurking. So he's probably watching like a perv. And
I mean, he's a 6-year-old boy in his mind, so yeah.
yeah. He's probably like, what the fuck? So they go off, or Bob goes to get them beers, and he hears some stuff. So he thinks it's Linda or Annie playing a trick on him. Linda or Annie. Opens up the door, and he's attacked by the shape. And grabbed by his throat, picked up against the wall, and stabbed. And we get this great shot of his toes uncurling. And then the shape has him pinned up against the wall, and he does the greatest thing, one of the most iconic. He tilts his head to admire his artwork. What do you guys think of Bob's kill?
It's so disturbing because it's just so sudden. And it's like she doesn't hear anything. It's super quick, which I feel like realistically it probably wouldn't have happened like that. But yeah, it is disturbing how he just kind of like stabs him, he's dead, and he just is like admiring his work and just like moves on.
It's the first. The only other time I think you could kind of see it was maybe at the beginning, but it's the first time I think that you really get a sense of how brutally strong he is, because he picks this grown man up off the ground. It's a hard feat to do, and then holds him there. I think with one
hand.
arm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then stabs him. So this is the first like element of maybe a little bit of supernatural aspect to it, but just how brutally strong he is.
Yeah, and not only does he stab him, but he stabs him hard enough to pin him to the wall.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's it's so iconic and so like scary when he tilts his head. It's just, movie magic happening.
Mm-hmm.
So
and to have no blood in this kill or in this movie. I don't think there's like any blood in this movie. It's
a little
not
bit
gory.
when you see when you see the dead guy at the truck, you see
At the very
blood.
beginning,
But
his sister had some blood on her.
But it's not
good
gory.
point,
You're
point.
right.
Yeah.
But it's not gory,
it's not-
and it's
No.
especially with this kill. It's like there's no blood in this kill, and it's so scary. It's so unsettling.
It's a great
It's
one.
like you just didn't need all of that to make this scene as scary as it is.
Mm-hmm.
So then we go to, which another iconic great scene. Linda's in bed and the door opens and we see the Shape wearing a ghost, cut out sheets like a ghost, and Bob's glasses over top of them. Such a funny image, but also disturbing, because he thought, this is him doing his prank. He's a 6-year-old boy, essentially. So he's doing his prank dressed as Bob to lure her in. And it's like such a funny but unsettling thought that he thought enough, you know what, I'm going to dress like a ghost and put on his glasses, and she's totally going to think it's him. She's going to let her guard down. Then I'm going to murder her.
It worked.
Yeah, like the charm. So she, shows him her breasts, and he's like, anything you like, blah, blah. Do I not get your ghost, Bob? And so when she realizes that, she's like, you're being really weird. This is going nowhere. I'm calling Lori. He comes up from behind her and starts, after she's dialed, and strangles her with the phone wire.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's strangling her, she pulls the sheet down, and we get our first really good look at what the mask looks like, what the Shape's mask looks like. And Lori's, like, oh, so I get your, first I got your obscene chewing, now I get your obscene moaning. And you just hear the Shape breathing on the other end. And he puts the phone up to his ear, and it's so freaking creepy when his motionless mask
Mm-hmm.
on the phone. And then it goes dead. She looks out of the window and she sees all the lights go on and then off. So she's like, something's funky here. I don't like it. So what do you think of, before we move on to the third act, what do you think of Linda's death?
It's interesting, I would say, because, being strangled takes a while, and it's really scary, and the fact that she's on the phone and someone's hearing it, but she does sound like she is, moaning,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
you're like, you should have, maybe tried to not sound like that. I don't know. It's, it is what it is, but it was supposed to sound like that so that she wouldn't, immediately
think anything of it.
scared.
Yeah.
So, she figures it out because she's aware, and she's been freaked out this whole time.
Derek.
I've got a couple thoughts about this. So it's the first time that you also, Michael, shows any sign other than the emotionless. To your point, he's got the mental capacity of a 6-year-old, right? And so the fact that he puts the ghost outfit on is something that you might do as a kid, but it's the first time he ever kind of breaks character as this emotionless
Well, it's
figure.
when we start to see a little bit of his personality, because he has a
Exactly.
personality.
Yeah, exactly. It's the first time I can think of that you really get to see his personality show itself. And then also later regarding those two, or the one, he shows a bit of his personality as well. We'll get to that in just a minute, but yeah, it's a very interesting scene.
So
That made any
Lori
sense whatsoever.
is, yeah, I gotcha. So Lori is wondering what the hell's going on, and the kids are in bed. She goes up, sees the kids tucked in. She goes downstairs and she locks the door like a responsible babysitter. Locks the door, goes across the street to see what the hell's going on here. And she walks in and all the lights are out. And she's, going throughout the house. She walks into the bedroom and she sees Annie's body sprawled out.
This is what I was talking about.
Yeah. See Annie's body sprawled out with Judith's headstone. We skipped that scene. Dr. Loomis arrives to the gravestone, or to the cemetery, and we find out that Judith's gravestone has been uprooted.
Mhm.
And now we know why. Because he's placed Judith's headstone behind Annie. Basically, this is my sister kind of thing. this is the same thing happening. So she of course is terrified. She has her throat slit. Lori backs up into the closet and Bob swings down.
Mm-hmm.
And then she backs up more and the door opens and she sees Annie's body crushed off in there. So she runs out and she has her back to this door in the best shot in the movie.
Best
You
shot
see
in
the
the
shape.
movie, yeah.
The shape just appear behind her. Like just from nowhere to just slowly he's there.
Yeah.
And he stabs her and slices her arm and she falls down the stairs and the chase is on. What do you think of that shot, you guys, of her in the closet or him appearing behind her from the closet?
It's the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. That's that is a masterful shot because out of the darkness comes this white pale face, this emotionless face, and it's like right behind her, and it's gorgeous. It's one of the best shots I can think of in a horror movie. It's amazing.
Lydia.
Yeah, I agree. It's so effective. So freaky. That's exactly what you picture when the lights go out and you're like alone and you're kind of like getting creeped out and you just like start feeling something behind you, and that's like what you picture every time.
That's
like
it.
Something,
That's it.
Something is happening. I know it is.
That's it. Yeah, so she falls down the stairs and the chase is on. There's a great shot where he appears at the top of the stairs holding a knife. She runs. He goes down the stairs at a brisk pace. She shuts the door, locks it, and tries to get out the back door, and this rake had fallen and jammed it. She can't open it. Well, the shape punches through the door and is opening it. So she does what we would say, when we're watching a movie, just break the glass. She breaks the glass, pushes the thing out, and runs off, and does her thing. So she runs off and goes across the street, and the shape appears walking across the street. She can't get the keys out. She lost them. She's trying to get the door open, so she throws a plan up and wakes up Tommy. He's like, come on, let me in. And there he comes, bounding down. And right as he's about to get to her, the door opens. She gets in and shuts it. Locks the door, tells them to go run upstairs and hide in the closet. And she grabs her knitting needle. And she turns around and sees that the window is open. And she's afraid that he's in there. Which, of course, he is. He pops up behind her. She stabs him in the neck with a knitting needle. Pulls it out and falls down. Seemingly dead, right? What do you guys think of this little chunk?
That always freaked me out that she used a knitting needle. Like, it was like, I don't think it had ever occurred to me that would be ever used as a weapon. So that was always like a thing that it's like the most innocent thing, a knitting needle. Like, I guess they're kind of creepy because it's a needle technically, but like it's, you just think of little ladies and little cotton scarves and whatever, and then she's using it to stab a killer in the neck. So
yes, so then we make our way from there. She goes upstairs to talk to the kids. She tells them, hey, that we gotta go. And she says, what about the boogeyman? She goes, I killed him. And Tommy says, you can't kill the boogeyman.
Killed him. You can't kill the boogeyman.
Right as he says this, the shape appears at the top of the stairs. She runs them into the closet, locks them in, runs into another room, opens the door, the windows like she jumped out, and locks herself in the closet. One of the other most iconic scenes in this movie. The shape tries to get into the closet and eventually punches through it as she's hunkered down. And he looks so scary when he's breaking into this closet.
Mm-hmm.
And just so unstoppable. She grabs a hanger
hanger.
and stabs him in the eye with it. Coat hanger, stabs him in the eye with it, and then stabs him in the chest with his own knife, and he falls down seemingly dead again. So Lori pulls the kids out of the closet. She watches him, makes sure he's not moving. She steps over him, really suspenseful stuff, and makes the kids leave. What are your thoughts on this little chunk?
Scary as F. No, it's a good one. I especially like whenever he says you can't kill the boogeyman, and then he's like right behind her.
Great line. Yeah.
It is a great line. And then as he's breaking through the door, you're just like, oh dear God. Although it's a flimsy door, but still the premise of like he's destroying this door and he's gonna get to you. And then
and you're trapped in this space.
Yeah, where are you gonna go? And then the resourcefulness of her to use a coat hanger. She just used something similar downstairs, but to use a coat hanger was great. I'll tell you what her biggest mistake was. She dropped the knife downstairs.
Oh,
yeah. I'd have carried that thing with me till the police got there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Every time.
Yeah. Also, whenever he's like
So,
pulling on he pulls the cord to light the
light.
The light is also because then it adds the like.
Yeah,
shakiness of it and it's
shakiness of it.
disorienting.
Yeah, it's flashing. Yeah, it's great stuff.
Yeah.
So she leans down. At this point, Dr. Loomis had discovered that Michael's car was parked down the road. So he makes his way down the street looking for him. He sees the kids running out of the house. So he's like, well, that's fucking got to be it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't see why else this would be happening. So he goes into the house. And at this point, one of the also greatest things, my favorite shots, there's a lot of them in this movie, Lori is sitting in the doorway, and you see the shape from behind her sit up, like the Undertaker.
That's right. Sit up! Cena, stop in his tracks!
Classic.
Sit up, and then he turns his head. So it's like this great motion of up, then he turns his head towards her, and she's completely oblivious to it. She's walking out, he attacks her, and is starting to strangle her. And she pulls off his mask as she's doing it. And he drops back to put on his mask, and we see a glimpse of his face. Looks like a regular guy with just a fucked up eye because he just got stabbed in it. And at this point, Dr. Loomis appears at the top of the stairs and shoots him. He runs into the room, and we get this great silhouetted shot of the shape standing there breathing. And Dr. Loomis just unloads 5 more bullets into him. Just unloads into him, and he falls off of the balcony, seemingly dead. Dr. Loomis looks back at Lori, and she says,
What's the boogeyman?
and he says,
As a matter of fact, it was.
and he looks back over the balcony, and the shape is gone. And Dr. Loomis's face says that he knew that was going to happen. The look on his face was the inevitable. And the movie ends with showing all the places where he had been, and we hear his breathing over the soundtrack, and we end with John Carpenter's haunting score. What do you guys think of the end of this movie?
It's real spooky.
Yeah, the roboticness of him sitting up and then immediately looking over at her is creepy as all can be. And then there's a scene where they're parallel of each other, right? The camera is really on her and he's out of focus, but they rise at the same point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very well shot. It definitely delivers a very scary sense for the audience.
Yeah, so I absolutely love the ending of this movie because what the ending meant at that time, before we got sequelized and before everything, we find out more from the night he comes home, and then all the different timelines of the Halloween franchise. The ending is supposed to mean, that evil never dies. Evil's out there.
Mhm.
It's always out there. And he just disappears into the night, and he could be anywhere. He could be in your house right now. You, listener, he could be in your house right now, behind you. Feel that tingle on your neck? That's him. Lydia just got scared herself.
It is. I can't
So-
imagine watching that in the, in the 70s and 80s and seeing it in a theater and then seeing him disappear at the end. And you're just like,
And then going
where
home.
did he go? Yeah, you're like, oh man, like now he's going to be after us.
Yeah, like walking out of the theater. It's kind of a similar feeling that I got. I mean, I was pumped up by the ending of Halloween Ends, which we'll talk about, but I was pumped up about it. But I also, you could interpret it that the same way too. Like the shape is still out there. But yeah, I absolutely love the ending of this movie. It's very poignant and spooky. So, what are your guys' ratings and final thoughts on Halloween? Let's start with you, Derek.
I am gonna give this movie an 8.75
Okay.
because I already know what I give the one that we saw the other night. I actually like that one better, but anyway, we'll get to that at some time way in the future.
You're nuts. You're nuts. You're crazy.
But this one is one of the classic horror movies, the Halloween movie to watch of all the movies on Halloween or approaching that time. It's a fantastic movie. I really do love this movie.
Lydia.
I think I'm going to give it a 9. I definitely highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, I can't imagine somebody out there is listening to this podcast that has not seen Halloween. But I mean, it's just so iconic and classic. And when you think, like, when you're young and you're like, okay, let's watch scary movies, what should we go to? It should be Halloween. Like the lore around it, the hype around it is like Michael Myers, 100%. Like, be terrified of Michael Myers. That's like the whole drive of it, I feel like. And like when I was a kid, that's what I was like, would hear people talking about how scary Michael Myers is. So you're like, I have to watch it. So if you haven't watched it, you should go watch it.
I'm going to give John Carpenter's Halloween, no surprise, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. It is, in my opinion, the perfect horror movie. It depends on what you're looking for, I guess, in a horror movie. If you're wanting a slasher gore fest, then the sequels in the Friday the 13th will deliver that for sure. But John Carpenter's Halloween is just the most atmospheric, one of the best directed movies, period, in my opinion. And it is the movie that made me want to make horror movies. That's just the way of it. The movie that made me want to make movies in general was Wizard of Oz and Star Wars. And John Carpenter's Halloween is what made me want to make horror movies. It was like, if I could make somebody feel a fraction of what this guy just made me feel watching this movie, then I've done my job. So, yeah, 10 out of 10. My all-time favorite movie, one of the very best horror movies ever made, and Stone Cold classic. Any final thoughts for Halloween, guys? The holiday and it is Halloween.
Yeah, this is the greatest time of the year. Some say Christmas. I say they're full of presents, but hey.
I agree. So, happy Halloween, guys. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Thanks for being with us. Be sure to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff.
Real quick, are we going to Atkinize this?
We will Atkinize this, yes.
Okay.
You're right. I would say, who would you say? I would say Tom Atkins. As much as I love Sheriff Brackett, Sheriff Brackett would be played by Tom Atkins in my actonization.
That's who. You cannot take out Dr. Loomis.
No.
Yeah.
You cannot replace him. I would.
He could
agree with
also
you.
be Bob because he gets laid, but
I mean, he could, but he also gets killed.
yeah. What do you think,
I
Lydia?
like your pick.
Yeah, I think I like your pick too.
Sheriff Brackett.
Brackett for sure.
Love you, Charlie Cyphers, but Tom Atkins is who would be our Sheriff Brackett to Atkinize this movie.
I mean, could you imagine him just showing up to Dr. Loomis and tapping him on the shoulder and says, "Thrill me"? Can you imagine that? That would have been awesome.
That would have been a good movie right there. That would
That'd
have been
the
a
way
10.
to go. That would have been the way to go. So that is our Halloween episode. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you guys have a great and happy Halloween. Enjoy your presents. Enjoy the spookies. Enjoy all of it. We'll be back next week with the Amityville Horror. So until then, for Lydia Judy and Derek Lemaster, I'm Jamie Hiles. And remember, if you're going to scream bloody movies.
movies.
That was all over the place. Scream bloody movies. Happy Halloween.